I wear my sunglasses at night. What's up, everybody? Hey, can somebody tell Creator Connections reporting to knock it off? Does anybody have a Creator Connections contact? Jefferson Bezos, if you're in this chat group, tell him stop it. What's up, everybody? Let me see. Let me kind of catch up here. Oh, Wilbur. Are we doing pig names? Is that what's happening here? What's up, everybody? So, Chris, I see a real guy. What's happening? This thing is on, for better or for worse. GMC Nutcracker. That's what they used to call me in high school. That's a dad joke. It's not true. It's never funny, but here we are. Chris Martin, what's up? The way it is. Hello. Bob Murtha. My dad always says the best looking men are named Bob. My dad's name was also Bob. I think he was biased. Although my dad was a handsome guy. My dad used to tell me these stories of every time he'd go and get gas, that like women would hit on him. And it maybe I remember like that's really I was very uncomfortable because my mom would be sitting right there. It's like, sorry, every time dad goes and get gas. And one day he went to get cigarettes and never came back. That part's not true, but I'm surprised it didn't get there. Fern, what's happening? Finds and giggles. What's up? Roxy. Let's see. Ryan, Sir Saul. I'm going through the list. What's up, people? Hey, thank you guys for I see busy. Busy. What's up? Diamond in the house. Good to see you. Andy is in the house. The Ginger. Hold on. It's a long one. The Ginger Digital Talent Repreen. Welcome. Sorry I butchered that. I did my best. Johanna, what's happening? What's happening? All right. Dino, you're in the house. Abby in the house. Amy's in the house. Freaking awesome. Hey, you know what's funny is I tried to do this before, and it turns out I am awful at being organized and scheduling. So I've done a couple of these over the past couple months where I'm just like, hey, surprise, if anybody is still awake, come on in. And you guys have done great on those. You guys apparently also don't sleep as much as maybe you should be sleeping, much like me. And I had this commitment over the urbanites. What's up? Yeah, of course. I was overdue, and my buddy Scott actually had reached out to me and hit on something. I think that because I had been thinking like I got so like all horned up about putting all these features into Oink over the course of like the last like at the end of the year, and I really kind of wanted to take a moment and start scooting back a little bit on that constant pressure of like releasing stuff and focus in on like cultivating and make sure to really kind of refocus on the teaching and the advice and those kind of things. And then of course just a couple of days ago I released the Facebook thing, which you know I'm doing my best to stick to my guns. It's just not easy because I see something and I'm just like I want to fix it. So I'm trying my fight. Eli, what's happening? Oh, it's not Eli. Elifins. Again, I'm butchering everybody here. I'm so sorry. What's up, everybody? So we're going to do this for about an hour. Thank you guys very much for joining. This is going to be something I'm going to do on a monthly basis. I wanted to do it at the end of last year. It just got nuts, man. Between, you know, the holidays and all the weird stuff that was happening with accounts and all those things, and just constantly trying to, you know, work on the extension and make it better. One of the things about this extension that I've learned is part of the reason I built it to start with. And by the way, if you don't know, I built my own extension like a long time ago before Oink and before any of these things. And I did it because as I'm doing Amazon influencer stuff, I'm like, this is awful. And so I built tools to make it easier for me. And I had all these different things going on. But one of the things that I have learned as I have tried to create Oink and do what this is I think that the program was just so awful to navigate. There's still things that I feel like I'm working on or that I identify. I'm like, this shouldn't be like this. It should be better than this in some way. So I'm trying my best to stick to my guns and just be like, chill fizz on the feature releases. But you guys keep giving me good stuff too. Actually, I got some Canada and UK stuff I need to work on this week too. I love you guys. It's just I'm trying to like, I need another fizz. I need a fuzz. No, we don't. We don't need that at all. I forgot I can click on some of these. So thank you guys very much for joining here and Free Life. Appreciate you saying that. Good job. So what I'm going to do is I have some things that I wanted to touch on, but I'm also just going to start doing rapid fire with the questions that you guys got here. Now, some of you are OGs and have been around for a little bit and you don't have any questions, and that's totally cool. Just tell me how handsome I am. We don't want to waste this time doing nothing. If you do have questions, you can start with you're handsome and then I'll prioritize your questions. But I don't care if it's CC. I don't. Hold on. I got to highlight this. I would volunteer to be your fuzz. Context matters here. If somebody heard you say that, not in, they would be concerned. Chris, I think that they'd go like, oh, what's this guy up to? I can build that, but not your capacity. And Oscar, hey, Oscar, I see you in here. Oscar, Emily's improved the AIP dashboard in general. An app for, well, somebody, you know what's funny is somebody's in charge of it. Nobody knows who, but there's somebody over. I think that what I've learned is the Amazon influencer program is like this subsect of the affiliate. It's the step sibling that nobody wants, apparently. Like it's like it gets a little bit of attention. They keep it fed so that the law doesn't come in and put somebody in jail for neglect. But like it's sort of getting the scraps, I think, of attention from, and so it's a really, and look, we saw evidence of that with the couple of months where we had the issue, which I'm not even going to say out loud because I don't want to jinx anything. Which, by the way, knock on wood, I'm not going to say that either. I'm still going to knock on that wood. Oh, Chris just popped in with a handsome man. Let's go. All right. Fuzz. The extension is great. I like the idea of this turning into a fuzz. This for the record. And if you don't know, if anybody doesn't know, Fizz is an offshoot of my original YouTube channel. It still is called Fizzness Shizness, which was a play on fitness, SHIT. I don't want to curse for you guys, but it's a health and fitness YouTube channel. So it was Fizzness Shizness. And then whenever I made my website, it was fizznessshizzness.com because it was all fitness reviews and things like that. And then whenever, after I had that, people just started calling me Fizz. It just kind of happened. And then I was like, I'll just roll with it. It sounds cool-ish. Although it is funny sometimes whenever I have a call with somebody and they go, hey Fizz, nice to meet you. It's still fun to me that this thing was birthed out of seemingly nothing, which is my favorite way for something to be birthed. Also, a side note, I'm going to get to these, I promise. A little fun fact about me, when you talk about nicknames, back whenever I was cool in my younger days, in mid-20s, I was in a touring, traveling rock and roll band. And when we started to get some national sort of like recognition, we were somehow somebody and nobody at the exact same time. And we were four doofuses living out in this small town called St. Clair, Missouri. We all moved into the same house and we practiced and we did all of our stuff there. When we toured, we'd come back and that's where we'd stay. And I read the book, The Dirt by Motley Crue. And one of the things they talked about in that book was like, we have stupid regular names. They don't sound like rock and roll names. And so that's how like Nikki Sixx and the Vince Neil and the Tommy Lee, all these things, Mick Mars, they created these names off of like their regular person names. And I remember going to the rest of the band and I was like, our names suck. We need something different. So I dubbed myself Bobby Battles, which is still my nickname to this day. I've actually got a tattoo that says Battles right there. And people started calling me Battles, and it culminated one time. We were playing, and this is unrequested information, but I rarely get a chance to talk about this. We were playing this thing called Summerfest up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And my wife had just informed me 2 days prior that she had had an affair. It was awesome. So mentally, I'm just in some sort of like wacky space, whatever. And we had to go and do this show up at Summerfest. And so I told the guys, I said, I need to drive up here separate. Me and my wife, this thing just happened. My life just imploded and I need to stay with her. I don't know what's going on. So they drove up. I drove up with my wife separately. She came with me because I was like, I can't leave her here because she's cheating on me. She might do it some more. And so I'm in this weird mental space. We take the stage and Summerfest is big. If you don't know what Summerfest is, it's huge. And I'm playing and my brain is already in this weird sort of spot. And over here to my left, as we were playing, what's the guy's name from Poison? No, I can't remember. The guy, Brett Michael. Brett Michael's over here playing on the stage next to me while I'm playing. And I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, my brain was like, who am I? And across from me, I can see because he had a bunch of different stages. I can see Ben Folds is playing way over there. And I'm like, my life is crazy. And just as I start to get this moment of joy from this chaotic situation I'm in the middle of this, some guy in the crowd goes, you guys effing suck. And for a moment, I I remember I'm like, I'm going to take my instrument off and I'm going to jump into this crowd and start a riot. And as soon as I went and I grabbed it to throw it off me, because I was like, I'm going to jump in and punch this guy in his face. As soon as I did that, somebody else in the crowd said, "We love you, Bobby Battles." And all of a sudden I was just like, life is so weird. My wife just had an affair, and somebody, after telling us that we suck, which I think we were sucking, some rando at Summerfest just yelled, "We love you, Bobby Battles," a random name that I made up after reading an autobiography because I thought that my regular name sucked. So I don't mind be calling Fizz. It's a long. All right, let's get into it. All right, so Chris, is there a way to sort CC from oldest date to any instead of scrolling all the way through? So, I mean, not with the natural sorting thing. The sorting thing, honestly, the built-in sorting thing is awful. Like you just kind of get what you get out of that stuff. What you'd probably would want to do there is one, scrolling does suck. There's not a great way to do that. What people don't realize is Creator Connections actually, every time that you send a request out or you change the sort order or whatever you do, you're always getting these different things sent back to you. So it's not like there's a way for us to be able to take that same container that all those campaigns are in and move pieces around or do different, because they always come in a certain way, according to Amazon. Even whenever you click the brand block and you can block some of the brands for showing up, technically those are still showing up in the background and they're still populating. It's just that Oink is essentially removing them, but you can't really move pieces around or change a sort order or anything like that. So no, there's not a great way to be able to do that. It's just one of those things you kind of have to overcome. That being said, I'll be honest with you, I don't really ever pay attention to the sort date. I just predominantly look through, and you can do this faster because of the colors. I just look for campaigns with the pink border on them. If I see a pink border, I already know that the end date is fine. Like if you're looking for that. Now, it still requires scrolling, but it's part of my daily process anyway. So it's not a great answer. I realize that, but no, there's not a great way to do that. What is the high-end monthly earnings you are aware of at this moment? I think that there was at least one that I know that hit 30. I shouldn't say no. They were approaching 30, and I thought that was an absolute in December. I know there's a lot more people earning 20 and up than people realize. There's a lot of them in the mid 15 ranges. So I would say that's probably like where the upper echelon of things are currently at least for the last couple months. So yeah, and it's one of those things where, look, the program is different than it was a year ago, right? Halo sales obviously came into play. Creator Connections got boosted by Amazon, and a bunch of, I mean, a fourth of those are party woo campaigns, but a lot of campaigns coming in for that stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity right now for those that are willing to be consistent. And those people, I'll be honest, that are earning those high numbers, they have different strategies for different things. There's a lot of different ways to win, but the one thing that they are all good at is being consistent. But that's kind of I don't know. And look, I'm sure WETI is way higher than that, right? Or some of those sort of conglomerate type of things. But whenever I'm talking about like real people that we know that are actually in like the Oink groups, that's the high range that I'm aware of. Oh, I should be posting these in the thing. I forgot. Sorry. Like, I'm not a pro at this. Real life or free life had said, was there? Yes. So there, I don't think it's a change. I think there's some sort of bug going on with the reporting. I woke up like yesterday and my Creator Connections immediately said like I made $50 or something the day before. And I was like, that's not right. I knew that wasn't right. And it didn't even update till today and it got corrected. And I've seen a lot of other people saying this. So there wasn't a change. I think something is going on with the reporting. And I think I saw earlier that maybe it is catching up slowly, but we'll see. Do you ever think we'll see a phone app? Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. There's a Facebook one, an Instagram one, TikTok's great. And if you're talking about an Oink specific one, not for the things that Oink does. I have thought about doing it for a couple of other things. Maybe like some messaging and things like that. But I don't currently have any plans for that. Nothing in place, at least. I realize that there is a barrier there if somebody is very phone focused to try to then have to like get to their desktop. I'm very aware that it's just hard the way that Oink is currently built and the way that Amazon works to be able to do a lot of these functionalities on a phone. I'm open to it. I'm just not sure if it's going to be I know some people are like using fancy phone things like apps that work around it. I didn't build it for that, but supposedly on Android, I think there are some workarounds, but I don't have anything currently up and running. Dino says, what do you think is currently going on with Creator Connections? Well, it's on fire, mostly is the thing. Well, here's 2 cents is we knew that at the end of last year, Amazon started announcing some changes in regarding to how they were doing different types of reporting. Like Australia got a lot of attention because that was like the only one that got any sort of report. Like, hey, this one report's going to be going away, and a lot of people were like, "That's really interesting," and it did. It actually changed, and now when you log into Australia, at least my understanding, I'm not in there, is that it did change and something is no longer visible. You can't see products at least right now or something. They also mentioned changes with the PA API. And if you don't know, some of you have actually asked about this in the groups. The PA API has converted into what they call the creators API. That doesn't have anything to do with us. But if you're somebody that populates a website for like deals and things like that, it's for that. But it's a big change. They've done the PA API for years. And so that was a pretty significant move for them. And so what I think is probably likely going on is we are seeing some of the beginning of the year shakeups with some back-end reporting stuff. We also know there's a new payments page that they had announced. It's the link on the dashboard is broken. If you click that, there's a banner at the top that says something like, check out your new payments. If you click that, it breaks. But I posted a corrected link yesterday in the 2 groups, but they've changed that too. So I think that's probably what's going on is there are a bunch of pieces moving around in the background, setting the stage for what the reporting and things look like basically for the rest of this year. That's my gut. We'll see. Let's see here. I like somebody says I'm about to drop a grenade. Why is Amazon suddenly dinging commissions for CC commissions for returns? That started just a few days ago. That is ad spend. So my 2 cents, I thought they were already doing that. But I felt like it's become more obvious lately because the overall sales are down. And if you have like one return, it's more noticeable than you would have before because those numbers were being padded. Somebody might be able to speak to that better, but I've actually always been under the impression, and I'll be honest, I don't pay a lot of attention to my reporting. I just basically look at my overall commission and let it be what it's going to be. But somebody else might be able to report to that a little bit better if that's been going on for a while. But I was under the impression that it always has been, that it was just not as noticeable because the numbers were so padded that you wouldn't necessarily see every single minus sign that came through. And if sales are down right now, if you sold 2 things, one of them gets returned, and depending on the price and the value, that might be more noticeable. But I'm not 100% sure in that. Are you planning on recalculating based on yesterday's view about ignoring? No, because from an investment standpoint, it's still, I think videos are very, very important. Like, specifically like low number of videos is what's very important. And so you need to pay attention to that for that particular purpose. But to be honest, the break-even calculator, I think from the standpoint of collaboration purposes, I think has way less impact and importance. To be honest, I never look at the break-even calculator whenever I'm looking at collaboration opportunities over on Creative Connections. The only time that I look at that calculator is whenever I'm looking through the lens of investment and trying to protect myself as best as I can and letting that go, letting that sort of like help me decide if it's a good move or not. But if you're talking about in relation to CC and collaboration, so no, if it's CC for investment stuff, then the numbers still apply, right? The break-even calculator currently, its current calculations are still what you'd want them to be. But if you're talking about the video, because it was about collaborations and ignoring the video count, to be honest, I wouldn't even pay attention to the break-even calculator because it's just going to give you something else to divert your time. Focus again on, is this selling and is there at least 60 days left? Tune everything else out and then just roll with that. Hey, I'm really happy you guys are all in here. Thank you guys so much. This is cool. I had a thing that showed me, 56 people in there. Cool. Hey, Silver, Strength Fitness, what's going on? Glad to see you. Do you think they're testing us for more non-influencer, regular customer to do? Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, we saw some strange things. So over the course of last year, there was a couple of things that happened. One is we saw the random testing that went from like 5 influencer videos up to 15. And that's actually kind of been going on for a couple of years. It's awful whenever it happens, but they've been doing some of that kind of like weird testing, although I haven't seen it for quite some time. Everybody find some wood and knock on it, please. And so that's the one thing. We also saw the from other countries thing pop up this year in those carousels, which was weird because, if you're uploading to those other countries, it was like Amazon was trying to figure out how to cross, and I haven't seen that for quite some time either, but it was worth putting a pin in that they did that. And sometimes they do mix in customer reviews into the influencer thing and they make it a whole big thing. They are always testing. Yes. It seems like, this is the way that the program has been built and has worked for the last, 4 or 5 years, where the influencers have their own section and it's 5 videos. And that's just kind of what it is. But I have no doubt that if something happens, if Amazon sees an opportunity and they want to test something and it converts well, that could end up being what we see primarily going forward, but they haven't found it yet. That's why we still kind of have like the 5 influencer video count maximum, generally speaking, because that. But they did play around with those carousels a little bit with that things from other countries. So I think that I would probably be more concerned with that than I would with the customer thing. The only way that I see that the customer thing becoming more front facing or more visible, because let's face it, the customer review videos are a lot of times are not that great. They're just quick, sometimes 10-12 second videos. The quality of them is not great. They're not great for pitching things necessarily. But I think that the only thing that would be of note there is if they were ever going to start working towards doing less AIP. In other words, if they wanted to try to phase out AIP, which I don't think we're close to that, I could see it maybe down the road. A possibility that a lot of people just heard that. What? Because of creator connections, because it's getting so big, I could see them leaning heavily into that and moving away from AIP maybe at some point if it makes sense to them. And in that case, maybe then you would replace some of those videos on there. But I don't think that right now, I'm not concerned about anything related to those videos. Any CC rev lower than expected today? Yep. So, well, today so far, but the reporting's all over the place. I think you have to take everything with a grain of salt right now. And what you're seeing, like I said, yesterday I woke up to like $56. And by today, that number had adjusted to what it was supposed to. The other day, it didn't even update till 8 o'clock at night, which was way crazy. So that, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, Tungo. I think you almost have to just like bite your tongue in a sense and just wait it out and see what happens. But yeah, it's not just you, bud. Let's see. Brett Michaels. Thank you very much, Kristen. You know, I think that dude's bald also. I think Brett Michaels is 100% bald. I think that whole thing is a wig. Oh, somebody else did a Mr. Handsome. Thank you. I don't know if it's been addressed. Oh yeah. So this is there's nothing to do with a PA API. You might have already saw this and it might be down in the comments, but for us, it has nothing to do with this. This is primarily for people that build websites and deal things offline where Amazon API is populating those prices and things and like that automatically. It doesn't really impact anything that we're doing here. I mean, on the surface, I don't see anything here. It's possible that something came down and they didn't properly explain what's going on, and I'll deal with it whenever it comes down. But on the surface, PA API has no interaction with what we currently do. So if they're migrating that to a new thing, I don't think that it's going to interact with us at all. Story of my life is making people laugh on things that they shouldn't. It's one of my talents. I'm good at that. Rory, the toy poodle. Right? How does a dog get an influencer account? I got a feeling there's a person behind that. Ryan, what's up? Off. Ooh, here we go. Can we talk about which one tends to be more successful? So here's what I'd say. I think the bigger money is on offsite. I think the large money is on offsite. You know, if you're talking about what some of these deal groups are pulling in and things like that, there's just, and also because, you know, I mean, some of these deal groups have close to 1 million followers in it, you know, and the Amazon offsite commissions are higher than the onsite commissions. So that right there is very much going to lean towards that. Now they are harder to scale. They are harder to build. One of the value propositions of the influencer program is you can make a video today and start making money on it tomorrow. So it's way more scalable, way quicker. And even though you can make really good money in the influencer program, I think when you're talking about like which one can make you more money, the offsite stuff is going to always make you more money. Successful though, I say that there's probably a higher success rate with onsite, just my 2 cents, because of its low barrier to actually start making any sort of, you know, because somebody that makes $1,000 a month, you could consider that to be successful. And a lot of people try Facebook groups and they don't ever get anywhere because it's just much harder to scale. So a lot of the success here it comes down to scalability and opportunity than anything else. But I think that when you're talking about just purely where's the best money at, it's going to be on offsite, but you have to work to get there. And it is not easy, which if you can, that's the reward for it. Let me see here. I just missed this one. And you guys keep pumping them in. Like I said, I'm going to do this for another 35 minutes or so. I probably end up going over. It's just how it goes. Into the off Amazon. Oh, but I have made more from Amazon store. My question is specific to the average influencer, not someone with millions of followers. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the average influencer versus I would bet on average, Facebook groups don't typically get off the ground and they only get a little bit of traction. I think that that's the average for Facebook groups. And some of you guys can correct me if you think that that's wrong, but I think because it's so hard to build, most people probably get stuck somewhere in the middle where they're making a few $100s a month. And honestly, a lot of them, I think, end up just walking away from it because it's not worth the time investment. I think that's actually the average. Whereas I think the average on the influencer side, I'm going to guess that with 6 months of consistency, you can probably get to $1,000 average would be my sort of gut reaction to that. And that feels very doable. again, much easier to scale to that than the people on the Facebook side. So that probably my 2 cents there. But you guys feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments too. Yeah, Oscar hits this up here. It can work various ways. Yep, it calls what you put your time into. Exactly right. I said this before in some of my videos. My dad says there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. There you go. Oscar hit it right there on the head, that the on-site's easier, but build offsite can pay off well as well. And there was a lot more chatter this year. That was part of the reason that I implemented that new Facebook tool. Was there's a lot more chatter this year that I caught on about Facebook groups and the revenue that they're able to generate. And look, and these people have worked hard at these groups, and they continue to work hard at these groups. I mean, some of the conversations I have, these people are organized on a level that my brain does not comprehend. So it does take consistency, it does take organization, and it takes skill to be able to do those groups. But there is a great payoff there if you can do that. Busy, it says run 95% of business, 95% of my phone. So easy. So you know what's so funny is that there's such a divide. I have such a hard time. I'm getting better at the phone because I've always been very desk-based, but I've learned that having these conversations, desk-based people, it's like PC to a Mac. People are like, I'm in a different, this doesn't look familiar. Very much desktop to phone, very similar like that. Okay, so urbanized, yeah, C3 reporting looks different for me. I no longer see campaigns. So clicks have disappeared. That happened, I think, a couple of weeks ago with some of the reporting. The daily sales that you were able to see your daily sales in real time. You can't anymore see that. If you wanted to see that, Chris, an average guy, has the Cha-Ching app. If you want to go and check that extension, so it'll actually show you in real time. It doesn't change your daily sales as far as being able to fetch them or cross-check them or anything like that. But for people that like to see that list, you can check that out there if you want to. But there's a lot of stuff going on. Not sure if it's something or nothing. I think that it's just, well, it's both. I think that there are definite intentional changes going on. I think the clicks thing is probably intentional. I think some of the reporting stuff is unintentional just because they're moving pieces around. Have I looked? Roxy says that the possibility of having CC products show current sales and promo codes. Yes, I actually have. I've actually thought about that quite a bit lately with the introduction of the Facebook group. There will be some introduction to those types of things. And by the way, I snuck something in on you guys and I haven't announced it yet. If you're a pro subscriber, if you go to your storefront right now and you go up under other actions, and then there's a thing at the bottom. Oh, what is it called? I got to check it. It's called Content Earnings. Go to Content Earnings, download your last 30 days, or you can do 60 days if you want, of your on-site, off-site also if you have it, and go to Creator Connections and download that there. And what it'll do is it'll actually put labels as you're scrolling through the content on your storefront of how much money the ASINs in that video made for you. It's just a nice way to kind of see what's converting and what's not over. I haven't made a video for it. I just haven't had time. But again, on your storefront, go to other actions, Content Earnings. The explanation is there. It's just kind of fun because then like you just walk through and you're like, oh man, this video hasn't made me any money, which is the case in a lot of things. It's just the way that it goes. And it'll say, here's your total, here's how much on-site, here's how much off-site, etc. So this is something I wanted for visibility so you guys can start getting a feel for what's converting and what's not. And that will only update for you as you upload. So if you go back in a week, the numbers are still gonna be the same unless you upload new stuff, okay? I just snuck that one in there under your noses. I just haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. Let's see. Mine didn't work from the dashboard. I'm not sure because you had asked, what was the question? I forgot what it was up here. I can't remember what that one was. You had said you think they're testing as okay. I think that was about the reporting thing. I think, Chris. If not, let me know. Little Urbanite says also CC goes down for me around 11 p.m. Not sure how long I take. Is that a sign to go to bed? So I have never heard of anything like on a timed thing like that. My guess would be it has more to do with maybe what you're doing around that time. And especially if you have more than one influencer extension running, depending on what actions you're doing, you might have multiple extensions requesting data at the same time. And then you'll get the white page, that says that they're doing maintenance when they're actually not. This feels to me maybe more like a behavior thing. Like if you're doing certain cross checks or things, especially if it's like right before bed every time you're noticing. And January is just so sad. Hoping next month will be better. And look, a lot of this depends on, one, yes, December is great. Like if you get a taste of December and then all of a sudden you go into like January and February and that's your first December, January and February, you're just like, oh, this is awful. And it kind of is. A lot of it depends on the content that you create. If like for me, my January has actually been really good, actually better than some of my but because I do a lot of health and fitness stuff and supplement stuff, so New Year's resolutioners are all hot and heavy about trying to like buy themselves into better shape. And so I've actually done really well. And I've talked about this in some of my videos. My buddy Doug, actually, he's done this several years in a row. He takes January off because he knows for him, it's not working out for him. It doesn't do well. So, and look, to be honest, everybody needs to be prepared. I think January or February is just going to be a continuation of this, because at least with the beginning of January, we got some of that post-Christmas drip. But in February, it's like no man's land. Nobody really has a reason to buy anything. It's not quite spring. Easter is 2 months away and nobody even buys anything for that. So I think February is also going to be a low month for you guys. It just is what it is. I did a video about this, that if you look back, February is some people's most consistent bad month overall. So this it's just the way it goes. It's all about sort of the average over the course of the year overall. Although December popped, it's really more about when you look back over the course of the last 12 months, what was sort of like the average that you made over that particular time. Don't get too wrapped up in the big pops or the drops for these individual months, because they're bound to happen. Let's see here. Leanne. Hey, good to see you, Leanne. What does Amazon announce things? If they announce things, it's all over the place. Sometimes you get an email that says, like, here's the new thing, and then they'll give you a link to kind of go and do that. Usually, if you go into Associate Central or whatever they call that, it's through somebody might have already posted this in the thing. But if you go to like your dashboard, and you go to the 3 lines over on the right, and I think you go down to maybe it's help. I think that might be one of the options on there, like Associate Central or something like that. And usually you'll find it. Honestly, they put it in a lot of different places. As some of you have learned, Amazon is not great at direct messaging and explaining themselves. And so sometimes it's a matter of where you can find it, or if you can find it. I want to learn to create a deals page that's automatic with API. You can't. Well, so deals page on your own website, you can, because you control it. And the API, especially if you have a WordPress site, every time that page loads, it will automatically populate like the up-to-date picture and the price and all that kind of stuff. But like on a Facebook thing, you can't do an API through that, because whenever you post that link or whatever the first time, if it is going to populate the pop-up and it's got a price on it, that price is never going to change, because Facebook caches that image. Even if the price changes on Amazon, when people come back and look at that image, it doesn't update at all. So the value of the API is to present up-to-date information, and Facebook doesn't do that. So from a group, like on my website, on my health and fitness website, I have an API thing that does that for all the different things that I do. There's actually a company called Lasso that does it. If you have a website, Lasso is really good about doing that through Amazon's API. But through social media, it's really hard to be able to pull that off. And I don't think you can with API. Ginger, I went back to the 1st of January reports, and there were no returns on my CC except for the past few days. I do quite a bit of CC, so I have a lot of extra data to work with. So this is new. I mean, if you want, you can drop me a note. Maybe if you feel comfortable sending me some screenshots. If you go to oinkforinfluencers.com, or if you go on the storefront, click account and go to help, it'll take you to my website. There's a chat thing on the bottom right. If you want to send something there, I'll take a look at it and just kind of see what's going on, see if there's anything I need to be paying attention to. In one of your videos about the calculator, you were able to change the number of influencers. It sounded like you were going to be able to make the. I don't think I did it yet. You were able to change. I think maybe I was able to, like, I could make it happen. Yes, I can make that happen. I thought you meant that I actually did it. My brain was starting to fry. I haven't done it yet. I'll get that input this week. That's not a hard thing for me to update. Let me double check. Did I? Nope, I haven't yet. I'll put that in this week. Thank you for the reminder. Actually, if I was organized, I'd write it down. So I'll get it in this week. Patrick, what's up? This is a loaded, broad question. Perfect. This is my favorite. Nothing can go wrong here. How many people doing this and using Oink are doing and making 5K a month? Yeah, loaded, because to be honest, a lot of people don't talk about it either. You know what I mean? Like, once one of the things I think has been interesting is in this kind of position that I'm in with Oink, and a lot of the different conversations I have, I think people maybe share more with me than they do in general, but a lot of them tell me I don't talk about this with other people. Like, and so I don't have any way of knowing. I mean, I know people that are on all spectrums. I know people that are 20 plus. I know the one I mentioned earlier that I think hit 30 in December. I know a lot from 10 to 20. I know them on all ranges, but I couldn't tell you. My best month, last month, I'm wondering how realistic is 10K. I think there's a lot more than people realize. I can probably, that's about the only thing I can say confidently is it happens more and they just don't talk about it. Like, because they got strategies and things in place and they're just trying to do their thing. So I mean, realistic, ultimately, whatever it comes down to for me, it's always going to be about consistency with this. There's a lot of different strategies that work in this, but I'll be honest, the majority of people and calls that I do when people are not getting the outcome that they want, predominantly it ends up relating to consistency somewhere. Either they're not touching it enough or they're not touching the right thing enough or whatever the case is. If you are consistent and you are hitting this every single day and being mindful of it and spending time on it, I am a big believer that the output will equal the effort. 1+1 is always going to equal the 2. Your job is to focus on the 1 and the 1, and the 2 is going to be what it's going to be. So, I mean, to me, I have never questioned the potential here. I've only questioned people's ability to stay consistent. And a lot of different things can impact, like regular life can impact that, right? Regular life is nuts, and so that could be a thing. So, but the people I see doing this consistently over and over again, and I've mentioned these people that hit the 30. These people have full-time jobs, right? And they just find a way to be consistent with it and doing the same thing over and over, not doing anything fancy, not just like hitting it. They know exactly what the process is, and they come home, they do it on the weekends, they do it. Where do I start to get my storefront available to UK and CA? There is a great video that our friend Nicole did. I don't have it offhand. That you can watch. It gives you the walkthrough of that. But look, let me give it a little. And I don't know what your storefront situation is or anybody here that wants to do that. But for me, I think that if you don't have at least 500 videos on your storefront yet, that you should ignore UK and CA. I think that you should ignore, if you're like, well, maybe I should be building YouTube and Facebook at the same time. I don't think you should. I think what I would do in your shoes, and again, this might not be you, but if anybody else this is applicable, Amazon Influencer Program is the fastest the scale. And I would rather see you guys put all of your eggs in your basket, which isn't even quite a basket yet. You're still building it. I'd rather see you get your feet underneath you here, get some stability, get yourself up to 500 videos or up to $1,000 a month in currency, and then start looking at where else can I put my attention at and earn yourself the right to spread out like that. But right now, because you're still building and you don't have your feet from underneath you, you're going to start spreading yourself out. You're going to look back and you're going to feel like you didn't really get any good traction on anything. I'd rather see you focus all of your attention for those first 500 videos on the Amazon Influencer Program. You're not really losing anything because you haven't even started those other things yet. Earn the right to branch out whenever you actually have a basket and then find another basket. But just my 2 cents, that was not part of the question, but I've had this conversation several times with people that are like, should I do YouTube? Should I do Facebook? Should I do Canada? Should I do UK? And I'm like, look, if you have 30 videos on your storefront, you should ignore everything else and lock into this because the scalability is there. You make videos today that can make you money tomorrow. No other function that I'm aware of has that ability to do that. So I think that's the unrequested 10 cents, of maybe 5 cents. It's obvious that more is not better. Better is better. What would your top 3 tips for creating content? Well, I'm going to put product research aside because that's paramount. That's not even a tip that I can give. That's like a requirement. But for me, if you're talking about just like the creation standpoint of it, people need to focus more on the fact that if they make a video, they want that video in a carousel and they need to picture themselves in that carousel and what's their best foot forward in order to get that click. Because if you're there with 1, 2, 3, 4 other ding dongs, you're one of the 5 ding dongs in that carousel. Buyers got options. And if you're not spending any time making sure that the product, like this, right? Making sure that product, if this is about a knife, that knife needs to be right here. And I don't care if you put text over here, over here, over here. I want that knife to be front and center because that buyer has questions about this. And that's the only reason that they are asking or that they're going to watch our video. They don't care about me. I could be like this and put this white knife way over here. And it's a bunch of fizz. Nobody wants that. I got a video about this. If you have questions about this, so for me, it's not even about individual things whenever it comes to the thumbnail or the title or the length. It's about, one, the length is going to be what it's going to be. I mean, usually about 1.5 minutes can cover most products in the influencer program to answer the question that the person needs. But ultimately what it's going to come down to, it's a combination of all of these things, right? It's a quality video that answers the questions that the buyer has. You need to be thinking about, why are they watching my video to start with? What do they want to know? And try to answer those questions for that. Don't regurgitate the listing description. They already know what that stuff is. They need something extra, which is why they're watching your video. So create it like that and then put the final touches on it, picturing it in the carousel, but competing against 4 other people, and make sure that like your title is provoking, that your thumbnail has, I don't even care if you don't put text on it or arrows, I don't nothing. Make a custom thumbnail minimally with the thing highlighted right in the middle. So people know if I have questions about this, that's literally what this video is about. So That's a really confusing answer to a simple question. It is a combination of all those things. I really do think people, though, are ignoring the carousel and thinking of themselves in it. We're making these videos and sometimes making great videos, and we're not putting enough into it. Another minute and a half of research to see, well, what's already in that carousel? Who am I going to be competing against? And trying to create a strategy based off of that. There's a tool in the extension called the title analyzer. If you're uploading a video, it's a little blue T. If you click that, it's going to pull in titles on other influencer videos that are on that product, because you don't want to have the same title as other people do. It takes like another like 5 seconds to see what those titles are. Making a great video. A lot of people make great videos, but they're not going far enough by positioning that video and putting the final touches on it to compete against others that are in that carousel. Let's see. Oscar says, take a very realistic. It's got to push more content. Be consistent. Push, push, push. Absolutely. The poodle has admitted that there's probably a person on the other side of here. Where do I get a checklist for everything I should be doing with Oink? I know I'm not using all the features. So it depends on where you're at in the process. If you're fairly new to the system, I only think you should be doing like 4 things, maybe in total. There's actually a video that I made. I'm going to post a link to this in the chat here. It's called The 4 Pillars. And people that are fairly new to the extension, I think that everybody should just watch this and focus only on this. In fact, I say that in this video, but I'm going to post that link right there for you guys in the chat. It's called The 4 Pillars. It does some of the initial setup, but it also says like, here's the 4 things that you should be focusing on in the meantime. The only other thing that's not on that is there was a new feature that I released not that long ago called the order history content gap. If you go to your storefront and you go to other actions, it's halfway down the list. It's not regular content gap, order history content gap. It's got a tutorial link on there. Watch that, because I would bet that 80% of the people in this chat have stuff in their house that is selling, and you still haven't made a video for it. You just don't realize it. That will help you find those products. So do the order history. So watch that video, follow those rules every single day until you get it down as a pattern, and then you can start worrying about the other stuff that's there. Do those 4 things in the order history content gap. Let's see, how and where are people making money? Yep, somebody, I think, hey, Ross, hi, good to see you, bud. Yeah, I mean, predominantly, if you're talking about offsite, it's going to be like Facebook groups, YouTube. You don't really have to build a community. You're hoping sort of on the algorithm to show people your video. Of course, if you build a community and get followers, the more YouTube will push those types of things. But that's the struggle, though, with these offsite things. There's not really something that's like, hey, I can set up an account somewhere and just start making money without building. That's why offsite has a higher commission rate. It's just harder to build. It's harder to scale like that. And that's how Amazon rewards from pushing traffic offsite to onsite. And by the way, there's a whole conversation to be had too about where Amazon ultimately wants their traffic and their sales to be coming from, right? The on-site people benefit from not having to push any traffic at all. And we're making really good money. Yes, at a slightly lower commission rate than the off-site people, but still making really good money in the on-site program. Amazon has always wanted people to push traffic. If they're on Amazon, if they're on Facebook, if they're on YouTube, if they're on Instagram, they want people to keep pushing towards Amazon. And so I think we're going to continue to see more priority given to that as we go through this year. That's where their revenue comes from. People that are on Amazon looking at on-site videos, they might have already been buying that stuff anyway, but the off-site people, you are intentionally sending them from over there to over here. And so it basically you're changing their day. They weren't planning on going to Amazon, but if you can convince them to go to Amazon and buy some stuff, Amazon rewards you for those things. And that's why those off-site groups and things can be extremely valuable. There you go. That's exactly right. Very hard to build. That's probably in the averages. And I might be really behind on these questions. Is YouTube cross-posting best for offsite? I mean, I think that from a scalability standpoint, no. It's really hard to scale on a review. Like if you're basically taking your review videos, I would never subscribe to a channel that does random reviews. And most people here wouldn't either. And that's not an offense to you. You wouldn't subscribe to mine. People on YouTube typically go for niche, right? Cooking, it's gardening, it's fitness, whatever the case is. And that's how you get followers. Now, if you do it consistently for a year, I know that my buddy David Peters had talked about this on one of his interviews recently that I watched, and he does really good numbers with YouTube. And I think it's a general sort of, but he's been doing it for some time. He's built that up over time. So I think that you have a better chance from a quick scalability standpoint to probably turn that corner with a Facebook group where you have more control over inviting people in and trying to get people into your group, and you're posting those products there than you do just simply cross-posting random videos over to YouTube and hoping that the algorithm pushes you. In most cases, it's not going to. Real Guy says, I have a Facebook group. It's successful, long grind. Most stop because the effort is not worth it. But if you stick with I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that, because that's exactly right. And I appreciate you saying it because people need to know that there are real people that can find success in it, but also appropriately saying like there is a pitfall to it and it is the grind to it. So I appreciate you jumping in there, Real Guy, and mentioning that. Thoughts on media kits, any paid deals instead of, I don't, from an on-site thing, I've been asked about this a couple of times recently. From an on-site shoppable thing, I don't have really any thing to think that that makes any difference. I mean, if you're doing creator connections, collaborations, most of these people don't even care what my YouTube link is, even though I tell them I have a YouTube, let alone asking for any sort of details on sales or anything like that. Most of the creator connection collaborations, when you're doing the one-off messaging, they just need somebody to do a video because they have a new product. And so the people that you see posting that have all these boxes that show up at their house was literally just because they said, hey, I can do this. Do you need somebody to do this? And they said, yes. I do think that media kits, when you're talking about larger collaborations, have an impact for being able to convince some of these larger brands that have a budget to be able to do that. But that's one, those are rare, right? Those don't happen a whole lot because those brands don't like paying out retainers and all those types of things. But if UGC especially is a route that you're wanting to go down, then that stuff can become helpful. Whenever I sign up for Uphold, and I don't do anything with it anymore, but it had like this media kit that I would actually do through the Uphold portal. And I uploaded like some of my videos that I did and my experience and all that. Basically, it was like a resume, which, is sort of like what a media kit ends up being. But Uphold would hire you based off of those things, right? And they pay you money as a retainer and they pay you an ongoing fee in many cases. But if we're talking about simply from the Amazon influencer program side, if you're looking for collaboration samples, I don't see any impact for that there. It's usually just like, hey, I'm a gold creator, I'm a platinum creator. And they go, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden you got stuff. Even if you're bronze or silver, if you get really nice videos, like, okay, like I said, on my outgoing messages, I put a YouTube thing. I'm like, I also have a YouTube channel. I bet I get asked what my YouTube link is 1 out of every 200 messages. They don't even care. There's like, hey, this guy can do the video. Like giving them anything extra would be overkill. Let's see here. Amanda. Hey, good to see you, Amanda. I had a Facebook group for a year. It's 6.5 and it's hard, and it is hard, not only gaining the members, yes, but dealing with how Facebook wants to push posts out. And I know that they've had some changes to that as of recent, is my understanding, with where they want the link or whatever. Reach issues is a real problem. Yep. That was my understanding as well, is you're not just fighting getting people in there and caring, you're fighting Facebook that seems to be pushing back against it. I've heard a lot about this lately too, because I think it was just in the last month, they may have made some announcements about links and what they don't like. Bob Arthur, are there groups that help people get started / grow offsite? Definitely something I see in my future. I mean, there probably are, but a lot of them are going to be pay to play, which aren't necessarily a bad thing, right? But I don't have any that I'm aware of personally. I think a lot of it ends up being you have to do some of it, the initial, and you might have already been doing this, Bob, but some of it, I think you have to get in and just start working at it yourself and sort of seeing how that looks for you and see how that whole thing kind of works. I don't know of anything off specifically for, I'm sure there are, there's got to be something like that. I'm just not familiar with anything. Diamond, you're amazing. I wanted to know that. I don't know what it was, but I thank you for saying that. I'll take the amazing part. That was the new pay. Oh, I see what you're saying, because that was the thing from earlier. Okay. Any chance we can add a feature to show how much we've made per product? Studio X. Oscar, you might have already seen this. The thing that I said a little while ago, and I'm really behind on comments, I know, which I appreciate. You guys keep sending them in. But if you do that thing that I said about going to your storefront, go to other actions and go to the last new thing on the list. It's called content something. I can't remember. Upload your 30 or 60 day CSVs are there, and then you can scroll through it doesn't have a list of like all of your stuff. It just allows you to see per video how much you made on each thing. And that's just the beginning. I'll come up with something better. But for now, I kind of wanted to just make it a visible thing so you can see each video, the ASINs you had tagged. Now, keep in mind, if you make multiple videos for a single ASIN, that is just calculating the ASINs there, not per video. So like for me, I usually just do 1 video per product. So if I see a number, I know it was that video that converted for it. But that'll get you at least started. Ryan said, for those of you that offsite, do you use, I see it down here, I skipped it, deep links? Yeah, I think that's a good idea to use deep links. Genius Link, Tap Smart, or Post Tap, whatever that whole thing is. I think it's helpful. It's not going to like make or break you, but it is helpful to do that. And so I use Genius Link. Some people use Post Tap. It's really going to come down to, I wouldn't say either of them they're the best. The best is ultimately what you can commit to and use over and over again. But I think they're very similar in that sense. I recently started a Facebook page, but my offsite. We're required to notify AMZ. Are we of that? I thought, yes. So what you're going to want to do is anytime that you're posting links anywhere offsite, you need to list that on the Amazon dashboard. So what you're going to do is you go to your dashboard. You're going to go to click the little 3 lines, and I'm trying to remember at the top right, the little 3 lines, and then go to account. I think it's account. And then there's something maybe account. It's yes, there is a place you need to add any offsite, social media, website, anything you're posting links and driving traffic, you need to add it into there. And honestly, do it ASAP, please, because they need to be able to track where the traffic is coming from. Yeah, Genius Link. Yep, perfect. Summer is the next big event. I'm probably some Prime Day stuff. Probably, yeah, summer's where stuff starts to ramp up again for sure. And even, spring cleaning and all that stuff is going to be good whenever spring starts to get here, but definitely in a lull time right now. Hey, Fizz, can you please explain how the Oink tool is able to see today's sales? We used to be able to see it ourselves. Well, so the report still exists, right? It was never about what was visible on the page. It was because every time that something populates on a page, there is a report in the background that basically you queue. So like even with your offsite stuff, whenever you see your sales report, if you do offsite, if you see all the products you list, it's because an API call was sent out and there was a response that's sent back. So the reason that Oink can still see these things is because that call still exists. It's just they're not showing up on the page right now. Whether it's intentional long-term or whether it's short-term or whatever, the API call actually still exists. It's just there is a visibility thing right now. So it's not that we can see it on the page. It's that same API call still actually exists in the background. How do you promote an accepted creator connection campaign without the product? Is that common? I don't. So let me take that back. You can. If you think about like a Facebook group, you could just take the Amazon link. For me, it'd be a Genius link, and you post it in your Facebook group, and technically you just promoted it, and it's a creator connection campaign like that. And you don't have the actual thing itself. You say, hey, this thing had a 20% drop or something, like whatever it is that you do on your Facebook group. You can say it on there, so you can promote anything with the link. You don't have to have any of the products. Not been the answer you're looking for. This one, I don't know, finds and giggles. I think they're actually very similar, is my understanding. Oh, here we go. Somebody already answered. Thank you, Chris. Post that was free. Genius Link is set up nicer. You do have a choice. And Genius Link, I think it's like $6 a month is what that is. Any chance you see my question on AU copying over the caption during download? No. Can you give it back to me? Sorry, Fern. I like, so Coffee. Good to see you, Coffee. They like post tap for deep links. You have to touch the right thing every day consistently. Every day, write that down. Every day, write it down. That's right. It is every day. I think that this goes kind of what I was saying earlier about, the effort or the output a lot of times equals the effort. If you feel like things aren't sometimes where you want them to be, a lot of times you can look at the effort and go like, there's a thing there. So you're 100% right. It is every day. 100% right. Too many people posting way too much and not even making their first. Yeah, just the more you can focus on the thing that's the most scalable first and earn the right to be able to get into those other things. I'm still trying to get my chickens to lay a dozen eggs for the basket. Hey, once they make that, once that dozen eggs is in there, you're going to go like, I think I can get 2 dozen eggs. That's how it usually works. People usually have an idea of what they want out of the program. And by the way, I do see it's 6 minutes left. I'm going to take this until 15 minutes after. All right. So I want to make sure to start getting through these questions here. All right, 500 reviews is the updated goal. Yes, and look, up to 500, don't worry about commissions either. This is the time that you're building. This is easy to say. I know you get that dopamine hit whenever you see some sales coming through, whatever the case is, but I think in your first 500 videos, you forget everything except learning and doing. Commissions are misleading at that particular time. If you're not making very much commissions, you might look at your strategy and go, it doesn't work, but it's only because it's too soon. And you don't want to give up too quickly on a strategy that might actually be working for you, but you're reading into things too much. Or the opposite. I tell this story a lot on my coaching calls and on my videos where I say my first month, I made like 100 or 2,000 videos or $2,000 on like 130 videos. I thought I struck gold. I was like $2,000, 130 videos. And I made a strategy that I used for a year that failed me because I misunderstood too early on. I took that small sample size. A year later, I was only making, only $3,000 a month. I made the wrong strategy based off of being too early in the program and misunderstanding. So as much as you can, head down and focus and don't worry about what the commissions are doing or not doing. Learn the program, get better at shooting videos, practice, cut your teeth, make your bad videos now. Everybody's got to go through that process, learn what to look at on products, request what you can, make videos of what you can, focus on the building. And it also builds your storefront during that time too. So that way, whenever you do start messaging brands, you have 500 something videos baseline at that point. You need a nice, girthy storefront. Some of you are going to say something about that. So yes, 500. And then from 500 to 1,000, that's when you go, okay, now based on what I've learned, what's my strategy? Now you've got a little bit of context behind you. And then look, that's just version 1 of your strategy. It's always going to be evolving, but then you're in a much better position to start putting that thing together. 5K after 3 years. I grind 7 days a week. I'm working twice as hard this year for $1 that I did last year. 2026 is about strategy and efficiency because hustle has a limit, no doubt. It all intersects in some way, right? You could be a fast runner and go, and if you're not running in the exact direction and somebody's got water for you along the way, you're going to run out of steam, right? It's the same thing here. Like you have to have an intersection of these things that hit all at the same time. One thing by itself, it doesn't do it, right? It's consistency, it's volume times opportunity and strategy, no doubt. Great comment. There's my thing that I made. I'm not new to AIP. Okay, I just don't know enough about navigating Oink. Well, that's all right. I'm not new enough. I just don't know enough about navigating Oink. Feel free to drop me a line over at the help desk. If you go to your storefront, click the pink account in the button on the top right, and then go to help. It'll redirect you to my website, and there's a chat thing on the bottom right. Feel free to drop things in there that you're falling short on or whatever the case is, and I can help fill in some of those things. Ralph knows about that order history content gap, don't you, Ralph? I actually did a call today earlier, and I told the people, I was like, stop messaging brands and exhaust your content gap, your order history content gap list. Like go through that whole thing because there's money sitting in there. Goodbye, Poodle. I don't know if your owner's sticking around, but good to have you here, Poodle, at least for a little bit. Heidi, the Poodle's mom. See, I knew it. I knew there was somebody behind that. Thank you very much for joining. Appreciate you. By chance, did I click that one twice? Or did you post it twice because I missed it both times? Handsome Fizz. I can't find the order history content gap. Go to your storefront, go to other actions. It's the third, I think, fat pink button at the top. And it's about halfway down the list. Order history content gap. Not regular content gap, order history content gap. Can you tell us about your process / workflow of when you get products in? Where does it go? When do you film it? And what do you do with it after? Well, after I cry because there's so many of them coming in. And I have not physically cried, but there's been sometimes I'm just like, it gets overwhelming if I don't consistently shoot because the pile starts to build and then I want to ignore it. I'm just like, oh, it's getting overwhelming. Predominantly what I do is I try to shoot most of my stuff, honestly, right here. Sometimes I have to get up and do demonstrations in other parts of the room, but most of my shooting actually happens right here. I've got an overhead thing where I put my camera on, my phone on that looks down on it. You can't see it right now, but there's a shelving unit back here that I had to pick up because all my stuff from Creator Connections was coming in and going on my floor over here. And I was stepping over it and stepping on it and all sorts of things. And I was like, this is overwhelming. So I had to get a little bit organized. The shelves are not organized, but at least the stuff is off the floor. And to be honest, I don't really have anything except for sometimes I'll group stuff. Like if I got a bunch of supplements over there, I'll group all those together and shoot all those together basically in one day and get those things out of the way. But generally speaking, I just start grabbing stuff one at a time. And because if I think too much about it, I'll handcuff myself. So I'm just like, I just got to go. I just keep recording. I just keep going and keep grabbing it. And so I'll kind of shoot it right here. And this is a great thing to remind you guys of, a lot of the stuff that we get it in. We don't have a lot of context for it. I spend about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes learning what this thing does. I never say that I have history or experience with something. If I do not, please don't do that. I can see through that. Most people can see through that. I do overview videos. Here's how this thing works. Here's the buttons. Here's it's heavy. It stinks. Whatever the case is. Here's the actual thing in action doing the thing. So but to be honest, that's pretty much it. I'm a very much forward moving person. I don't spend a lot of time tracking stuff. Or looking back at what I've done up to this point. Like I said, I kind of check my commissions once a day, but I don't really go through my logs or anything like that. I'm all about like focusing on progress and moving forward. So when something comes in here, my thing is just to get it on the shelf. And if I can find time today to do uploading, which I don't do as much anymore, I try to, but Oink takes up a decent amount of time. But I'm trying, like this weekend with the snowstorm coming in, I'll be uploading pretty much all weekend. That's my general process. It's a little bit of wing it with a little bit of organization mixed in. TC connection each day all the time. Nuskin, it depends on the day and it depends on the mood of Creator Connections. Right now, it's all over the place and it is not consistent. Normally, I shouldn't say normally. For like the last couple of months, it's been coming in like around 4:30 Central Time to about 6:30. It didn't come in until like 8 the other night, and then 2 days ago or today, it was like something like 24 hours. So I don't know what's going on. So right now, there's no consistency. So don't trust what you see over there right now. Thoughts on charging a fee for a video when a brand reaches out versus creating digital? It depends on the situation, depends on your business model. I'm good with any of it as long as it's making you money and you're winning. Sometimes people will charge a fee for something if they feel like I don't really want to do this, or if they feel like that's part of their business model and they want to go that route. Sometimes people that normally charge will do sometimes something for free if they feel like this is a great gateway into getting a relationship with this brand and doing some things. I think some people do everything for free. If they're vetting all of their products and everything is selling, and you're getting products that are actually selling and making Amazon money so you can make money, I'm fine with people do everything for free. I really, this is a very passionate thing that people talk about in this, but to be honest, I don't care what people do. As long as they are winning and it works for their particular business model, one, it doesn't matter what everybody else's business model is and what they want you to be doing. You are not responsible for them and vice versa. You got to do what makes you win. And if your thing doesn't work, then you'll eventually have to pivot and go to something else. But I typically am in a mix somewhere. I do more stuff for free than not, because these are products I've already pre-vetted that I know are going to make me money in the long term, more than I could ask for it from these brands. And again, this isn't like UGC stuff. These aren't like $300 videos where I'm got to deal with this. This is like single one-offs. And so that's what I do. Every once in a while, a brand will send me a thing and like, hey, we'll pay you if you do this. And if I don't really want to do it, I'll go, okay, I'll go ahead and do it for the fee. But it can be a mix. It can be all in one. And whatever it is, as long as you're winning and as long as it works. Because look, here's the deal. I don't know anything about your finances, your family situation, your housing, your circumstances, your life, and you don't know anything about mine. And for me to cast any judgment on you for what you are doing and considering to be the right thing for you and those things, not my job. So I don't think for this, there is a single way that is the right way, as long as you're winning and you're happy. Fern, check. When I click on it, I get 0. What steps am I missing? I did fetch each one. I don't know. Can you screenshot that and send it over to me, Fern, if you don't mind? Because I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to see what that actually looks like. I think you're saying 0, like everything's turning red, but I'm not 100% sure. Alex, appreciate you. Hey, very much. Thank you for the kind words. People here know that I'm not great at accepting compliments, except the handsome one. I couldn't help but notice, Alex, there was no handsome at the beginning of this, so is it really a compliment anymore? I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. Let's see here. My personal Amazon is not the same as my AIP. I just got logged in my personal account to check. My Amazon personal account is not the same as my AIP account. I log in my personal account. You have to be on your AIP account to do this. So like whenever you're on your storefront, you can see all the pink buttons on it, right? And all that stuff. That's the account that you need to be logged into. Once we calculate the content earnings, where do we see the results of those calculations? It just disappears after I hit calculate. If you scroll through your storefront, Bob, you should start seeing it on the campaign cards that are earning you some money. Should. Nobody else has tested this yet. I just told people about on this call. Let me know if you want to see that. Not everything is going to have a card on it. Some stuff hasn't earned you any money. You might scroll a little bit before you start seeing the stuff that, especially like newer stuff you've been uploading. Maybe it hasn't had time to make any sales yet. So maybe scroll down a little bit and see if you can see stuff. Silver Strings. Hey, appreciate you. Chris, PM, thank you all your time. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope the fam's doing well. I have an issue with Halo opportunities. I posted in the group this morning my message from 3 days ago and tagged you. I pasted the link a few times in this chat also. Pasted the link. I don't think I'm seeing any links come through. Drop me something on that, would you, Roxy? Because here's something I did notice. I had a call with somebody the other day where I think Chrome recently had an update because they were going and they were running the daily sales and it was returning nothing back. It said no sales found. And it turns out that Chrome was attaching something to the page, like in the request. So whenever she did it through the earnings tab, it worked. I said, hey, try this instead. The earnings, I got the little button at the top that says earnings. If you click that and then do it, then it worked for her from there. But she had so many different tabs open that for some reason Chrome was trying to lay something on top of the request and it wasn't going through correctly. So try that. That may not be the case. It's only happened once and it was probably a one-off, but just in case, try that and see if that does it. On your storefront somewhere, click the thing at the top that says, not my earnings. Yeah, my earnings. Click that, go to your on-site and see if that'll pull from there. If not, send me a message on that, okay? It's not transferring the caption. So we upload it. It's not transferring the caption. We have to go back and click on. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're talking about, okay. Yeah, I haven't touched some of those things yet for that. I'll work on that. The AU stuff I've just now implemented and just kind of got like the initial things on it. I'm not done with it, but I got a couple of CA, UK, AU things I need to be working on sometime soon. I'm getting some heat. Jackie's been all over me for it. Do consumers need to watch a specific amount of your video? So I think that you're probably looking at like 5 seconds. I don't even know what the rule is anymore. It's pretty low. It used to be, I think, 30 seconds minimum, but I think now it's not very much. So this is also one of the reasons why I think it's really important not to make really short videos, because if your video is really short, the chances of it stopping soon and rolling into the next video are pretty high because people aren't prepared for it to be so short. So they're going to be like, and then as soon as that next video starts, you're out of the loop. Your commission's pretty much gone. So, but I think it's like a 5 seconds at this point. And to be honest, I think that probably anything under 20 seconds, it converts probably awful anyways. Most products you can't adequately talk about. I mean, 30 seconds, you can give a little bit of experience, like, hey, I like this, whatever. You're talking about like a demonstration, you can't really do any of that stuff within 30 seconds or 20 seconds. That's really hard to do. Thanks for your, you guys. There's another dog. Another dog. Well, I mean, the mom's here, but another dog icon, another dog thing. I like it. You got it. Sorry, zero meaning, no list or show. Okay, yeah, Fern, hit me up on that, would you? Because I think you still got my pathway to send me something. Screenshots, if you would, please. All right, cool, Bob. Got you. Awesome. I got 10 more minutes here for you guys. And then we're to get through these. I think I'm actually getting to the end. I appreciate this. Oh, good, Angie. Hey, welcome to the call and the group. At the beginning, that's all you got to do. And don't try to learn everything all at once. There's a lot of pieces going on. There's a lot of different strategies that people implement. There's a lot of different things happening. If you see above, I posted the video about the 4 pillars. So if you're new to the influencer program, focus on the 4 pillars, tune everything else, absorb it, listen to it, but don't focus on doing too many things at once. There's a lot of moving pieces here. And frankly, a lot of people can get overwhelmed with it at the beginning because it all feels new and you're trying to figure out what should I be doing. And all of a sudden you're like, I don't know. So don't get overwhelmed and watch that video if you would. It'll really help you. Amy says, if I move Oink to another computer, are there any steps I know? So you're going to want to download a backup from computer number 1. That's where your data is currently at because it doesn't automatically transfer, right? Oink works isolated to your computer and your Chrome instance. So if you use the same email, even on another computer, it doesn't import your data from computer number 1. So what you're going to want to do is on computer number 1, you go up to account on the storefront or creator connections account on the top right, go down to preferences. And whenever you're in preferences, there's an option to download backup data. That'll put a file on your computer, transfer that file to the other computer. That's your extension data. And then just install it like normal on the other computer and then upload through that same pathway. You're going to, instead of download, you're going to put upload or something like that. And that way your data from computer 1 will get over to computer 2, but they won't share data back and forth. There's not like a cloud or anything like that where any of the information, all your information stays isolated and secure on your one individual device. Where do we download our CC earnings report? So if you go to Creator Connections at the top, it's next to your name. Somewhere at the top, it says like last 30 days or something like that. And it might say more after that or something, learn more or see more or something. You can click that right there and that'll take you. There's a button on that next page that you can change the time frame. Just make sure all the time frames match. If you're talking about the content earnings, just make sure all your time frames match. So like last 30 days, last 60 days, whatever it is. Is there a specific video on just messaging brands? Yeah, there was one that actually shows you exactly how to do it. Give me a second here. I'll give you the link here, Angie. It literally is a tutorial on how I do this every single day when I wake up. Let me see if I can grab it here for you real quick. I just did this like, where is it here? That was not it. Here we go. Let me give you this. And I'm going to do the link. Okay, here's the link to that one. This is how you can just literally follow what I do, and this will show you how to message brands on products that actually are going to sell on Creator Connections. Most of my videos are 30 to 40 seconds, but they convert. I'm not testing longer videos along with focus. Yep, and I think that's it. 30 seconds for me is sort of like the minimum. Like stuff at that point and going forward can convert. I think once you start getting like that 10 to 20 second range, really hard to get anything going on there. But 30 seconds, you can answer a lot of questions, depending on the product, right? If somebody's looking at a $300 product, 30-second video may not convert as well because they really need to be made feel better about that. On average, how long does it take for Amazon to post CC income? So Vals, it depends on the day. Right now, it is chaos over there with the reporting, and don't trust anything you're seeing. So probably a good chance right now you're seeing nothing. Like earlier today, I saw something, but it had no clicks. Somehow they calculated my earnings and it said no clicks on it still. So Vals, right now, normally you're going to see it midday, 5:30 Central Time. I'm in Central Time, 5:30, 4:30 in that kind of general range, or 6:30. It was like 8 a couple days ago, 8:30 at night. And then like in the last 24, 40 hours, it was like a full day. So something's going on with like their up-to-date reporting. Normally it's later in like the afternoon, early evening. But right now it's nuts. Fern, can you drop it over on the, I think you had DM'd me before, Fern, if I remember right. Can you pull that up and do the same thing again through Facebook? Can you bring on guests in the 5K range and up to share? Real guy, I don't know if you saw the video I did with Sean, my buddy Sean. He's only got 700 videos up, and he makes about, he was planning about 7K a month or something like that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll give you the link. That honestly, that's probably one of the best ones. I mean, and actually, my buddy Chris, Chris is on here too. He was on here, average guy. Let me see. I've got a couple of these for you. Here, actually, let me do this. It's probably gonna be easier. Just go, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and just search for there's a couple of interviews that I've done here, one with Chris and one with Sean, and both of them are in that range you're talking about. I'm certainly open to doing more in the future, more interview type things. But those are a couple I think they're actually going to be right up your alley if you haven't seen those already yet. I can't find a video of where if you're the only influencer and your video is stolen from brand. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Let me take a look here. Actually, if you don't mind, curated that thing up above, because that one was a little bit buried back in my YouTube queue. If you would go to the YouTube channel that I just posted the link to up above, and if you search for like the word stolen or let me see. Actually, let me see if it's there real quick. Easy way to find stolen videos. They stole my video. Actually, never mind. I got it right here. This is the video for that. If you're the only video, why I don't file claims sometimes if I'm the only video. There you go. Oh, Roxy, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You got it, Angie. Of course, Sarah. I made a brand. I had a brand. I did a video from Creative Connections, and they loved the video and want to use it on their listing. They want to know if they can and have usage guidelines. I'm new to this, so I'm not sure. So here's the deal. I am typically not going to give them that for free. That is one thing. If somebody wants to use it, it's one thing if they want you to just make a video. That's different. When we're talking about using it, especially when your face is on it, and I don't know who else's faces are on it. My answer here is typically I'm going to give them a number that I think there's a very low chance of them saying yes to, because honestly, I don't even know if I want them to use it depending on the brand. You know, if somebody's doing dude wipes, I don't know if I necessarily want somebody using my face on dude wipes and promoting it all over the internet. So it depends on that too. Usually what I would say is that's fine and they can do whatever they want with it if they give you $300 or something like that. And to be honest, most of them are not going to take you up on it. It's very rare that they ever say yes to this. Now, if this is a brand that you feel like if it's like a big brand and it opens a door for you to do it for like next to nothing, then you kind of have to make a decision based on that. But if this is just like a random one-off, the only thing you have to watch for here now, Sarah, is there's a high chance that if you say no, they're going to take it anyway. So if you say no and it looks like it falls apart, maybe just store that information somewhere and come back and check it in a month and see if they've got your video somewhere on the carousel. But generally speaking, for this purposes of them using it themselves and putting it other places, I'm hard pressed to find very many scenarios where I'm going to allow somebody to do that without compensating me with, like I said, $300, $500. They're probably going to say no in most of these cases anyways. And sometimes you just have to try numbers and see how they work. And maybe they come back with another number. Maybe you negotiate whatever works for you, whatever works for your business model. But that's kind of where I'm at on it is I usually say like 300 or 500 is like my baseline. Nobody ever says yes to it. Sometimes they'll come back and go like, well, about 100 or 200, and you just have to make a decision based on that. But I probably, again, unless it's a big brand, I wouldn't just say, sure, go ahead and do it. Let's see here. Val says, I sold something on January 20th and the CC income isn't showing as normal. What is this? This is like the 22nd. Well, remember, it depends on if it's shipped yet. It might have shipped. If it hasn't shipped, it has to ship first for it to actually calculate on there. And to be honest, the last 2 days, I just don't think anything is trustworthy as far as the reporting on this right now. So although I'm sure that you are waiting with bated breath to see it pop up on your results, the fact that it hasn't yet, don't put any stock into what that means or doesn't mean, because I think that they got some stuff that they're currently working on. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate that. And I got caught up. I am here and I'm at the end of this. So we're at the end of the time, guys. Thank you guys so much. I will do a much better job at posting these things in advance, so you guys know. I appreciate, as always, the support and the trust that you put into me and to hearing me out on some of my thoughts. And look, everybody's strategies are different. You don't have to follow something just because Handsome Fizz says that you should be following it. I've said this in a bunch of my videos. My dad says there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. It's one of the worst analogies I've ever heard in my life, because that means multiple people had different ways to skin cats. Those poor cats. But I think that is a valid analogy, that as long as you're staying consistent, I would rather see people be consistent and struggle with their strategy, because it'll fix their strategy over time. A great strategy without consistency is never going to get you where you want to go. So focus on your consistency and the strategy at the same time. And again, I'm very, very thankful for you guys in the community as a whole. And I'm going to do this at the same time next month. I'll get it on the schedule and get it posted up. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day to join. As always, we will see you on the next video. As I always do, peace out.